Hi, I'm Charlie Pate from Tight Lines Fly Fishing Company. It's getting towards the end of October here in Wisconsin, and our main fishing focus is turning to the tributaries for migratory fish right now. So today I'm going to be tying a classic egg-sucking leech. This fly I'm going to tie on two different tubes, and it's a type of stinger style fly that you rig your hook up on a loop of mono. The materials for this fly can be tying it on small plastic humor tubes. The next material is purple rabbit strip. You can do it in black, you can do it in blue, but I'm just going to do a purple one here. Little Flashaboo, I'm going to do holographic purple and holographic black. Add a little sparkle. And then the cone I'm going to use is just a pink humor cone. So the first step of this fly, take a small section of tubing, maybe 4 millimeters or so in length, and I'm going to just lash the rabbit strip to that, just about like that. Okay, so I'll get my thread started on this tube here. Make sure that's attached firmly. And then I'm going to secure that rabbit strip right to the top of the tube. And if you just get a couple turns of thread with good pressure, that'll hold on there just fine. You can finish off your thread right here. And for the purpose of time, I'm going to skip this step. But if you tie this fly, hit those thread wraps with a little zap-a-gap just to make sure that everything holds tight there. Now, I'm going to put another section of tubing on my needle here. It's about maybe 3/4 of an inch long. Get my thread started. And I'm going to fix the rabbit strip to the second tube. And we're going to add a little bit of flash. Do a few strands of black. And mix those with a few strands of the purple. The next step is going to be making a nice full rabbit hair collar, and I'm going to do that by making a dubbing loop, I'm just going to use a hook. And we'll cut some rabbit right off the hide. Try to get the longest rabbit you can. Want to make sure to really fill up this dubbing loop. It'll probably take 4, 5, maybe even 6 decent sized chunks of rabbit fur. Make a nice bushy full collar. That'll be good right there. Spin the loop up here. Make sure that's nice and tight, and I'm going to grab a little Velcro, brush some of that fuzz out, make sure all of my rabbit is nice and long, then I'm going to start wrapping this rabbit. Now the crucial part here is making sure that you sweep the rabbit back with every wrap. Just make your collar, just tie off that thread. Then you can go ahead and just finish off your thread. The nice thing about doing a tube like this is you can have a bunch of big sloppy thread wraps in the head of the fly, and you're actually going to be covering everything up with the tube. So to fix that tube on the fly, what I'm going to do here, fix that cone I should say, chop this down to size, making sure to leave a fair amount hanging over to really set up on the lip of that tube, or that cone. And then what I'll do, put him back on the needle, and take a lighter and carefully just curl that plastic down towards the cone. Give her a minute to cool down and you can take your fly off the needle then. Now that the fly is cooled off here, we can take it off of the tool without hurting my hand. And what I'll show you here is the first part that we tied, this little piece of tubing on the bottom of the rabbit strip, and then the top portion, front end, is tied on another tube, and that's crucial for the rigging of this fly. Obviously it doesn't have a hook in it, so we're going to have to put some tippet through there and get a hook on to rig this fly. Take your Maxima and slide it through the front end of the fly, and then tie a non-slip mono loop, leaving about an inch or an inch and a half of a loop. Cinch it all up. Now that's going to be our stopper. We're actually going to snug that knot inside the front end of this fly. Ideally you want your hook to hang slightly behind the rabbit strip there. So I'll snug the knot up into the tube, and we'll take this loop of mono and put it through that back tube, the first one we tied on. And ideally the setup you want is hook pointing down. I'm going to use just an octopus hook, a size 2 octopus hook. And I'm going to thread him onto our loop. Hook pointing down. That's the finished fly.